Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? I mean, all the crunches, the diets, the cardio, but that stubborn belly fat just will not go away? It is so frustrating. But what if I told you the reason it's not working is because you're fighting the wrong enemy entirely? Okay, let's crack this code.
Man, this one really hits home, doesn't it? It just validates all that effort that feels completely wasted. And listen, there is a very real biological reason for it. Crunches, they build muscle, sure, but they do absolutely nothing to touch the real problem that's hiding deep inside your body.
So, this is the most important thing to get straight right from the start. We have to understand that not all belly fat is created equal. The fat we're always obsessing over, the stuff you can pinch, it's mostly just a cosmetic issue. The real danger is something you can't even see.
And this lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got subcutaneous fat. You can just think of it like a simple savings account for energy. It's that jiggly stuff under the skin. But on the other side, you have visceral fat. And this stuff isn't passive at all. It's an active, vicious troublemaker that's literally wrapped around your vital organs. This is the real enemy we need to be targeting.
A really powerful way to think about visceral fat is to think of it like a parasite. It literally latches onto your organs, it feeds on inflammation in your body, and it just wreaks havoc on your metabolic health from the inside out. The key phrase to lock onto here is biologically active. This fat is not just sitting there. It's practically an organ in itself, acting like some kind of rogue gland, just pumping out nasty chemicals that confuse your hormones and push your body towards chronic disease.
Okay, so this is the big question, right? Since you can't pinch it, how on earth are you supposed to know if this dangerous fat is building up inside of you? Well, luckily, there's a really simple test you can do right now.
Go ahead, give it a try. Stand up, relax your stomach, and poke your belly. If it's pretty firm and sticks out, almost like a beer belly or like you swallowed a basketball, that firmness is actually the visceral fat pushing out against your abdominal wall. And that's our signal that it's time to take action.
So here's the good news. While this visceral fat is dangerous, it also happens to be the easiest type of fat to burn if you know the code. We're about to break down a very specific three-part protocol that works like a combination lock to target and melt away this hidden fat.
All right, let's get into the first part of the code. Now, it starts with what you eat, but probably not in the way you're thinking. We're not talking about restriction here. We're talking about adding a specific kind of protection for your cells. Let's call it the carotenoid shield. This is actually pretty fascinating. See, visceral fat loves an environment of what's called oxidative stress. You can think of it as rust on your cells. Well, carotenoids, those bright pigments that give vegetables their deep red, orange, and green colors, they act like nature's rust removers. They literally clean house at a cellular level and flip the genetic switches inside you to favor fat burning instead of fat storing.
Now for the second part of our code, there's a specific drink that acts like a key, one that can physically unlock your fat cells so they release all that stored energy. And yeah, you've probably heard of it, it's green tea.
The special compounds in green tea called catechins are just incredible. First, they pick the lock on your fat cells to get them to open up and release fat. Then, they also act like a bouncer at the door of your gut, blocking some of the fat you eat from ever being absorbed in the first place. It's this powerful 1-2 punch, and it's especially potent when you drink matcha or sencha because you're consuming the entire leaf.
Okay, this brings us to the final and, you could argue, the most important part of the takedown. Diet is fantastic, but exercise is the laser-guided missile for visceral fat. The secret, though, isn't about going as hard as you can. It's about working at a very, very specific intensity.
Just look at this number from a major study, a nearly 50% drop in that dangerous internal fat in just 2 months. And that was from only 2 45-minute workouts a week. This just shows the incredible power of exercising at exactly the right intensity.
And it's not just about the fat loss. Look at this, a 41% improvement in insulin sensitivity. That is a massive, life-changing health benefit. It's essentially turning back the clock on metabolic damage and reversing the path to conditions like prediabetes.
So what is this magic 75% zone? Well, you don't need any fancy equipment. Just use the talk test. You've hit that sweet spot when you can talk, but you really, really don't want to. You should sound a little winded, kind of like you just walked up a few flights of stairs. That is the zone where you specifically target visceral fat.
All right, we've covered the why. Now let's put this all together into a simple, really clear action plan that you can start using today. Here it is, all in one place.
First, you've got the shield. Just add some deep color to every single meal. Second, the key. Swap one of your coffees for a good green tea. And finally, the solution. Deploy that cardio missile 3 to 4 times a week at that talk test intensity. See? It's a simple, powerful strategy where each part actually makes the others work even better.
Now, before we wrap up, I have to warn you about a huge trap that almost everyone falls into. The natural instinct when you want to lose belly fat is to just starve yourself. But for visceral fat, this is one of the worst things you could possibly do.
And here's why. Extreme dieting makes your body panic. It slows your metabolism way down, and it holds on to fat for dear life. But the right kind of exercise is different. It has what's called a dose-dependent response. The more you do, the more visceral fat you lose. There's no wall. So the strategy is to fuel your body with good food and then use movement to burn off the fat.
And let's just be real for a second. This all comes down to consistency. Don't force yourself to run if you hate running. Find something you can actually stick with. Biking, swimming, even just a fast walk with a backpack on. Consistency at that 75% intensity will beat short-term, high-intensity burnout every single time.
I want you to remember this. Your body is not working against you. It is incredibly resilient, and it has this powerful, natural desire to be healthy. All it needs are the right instructions from you.
So let's just recap the whole thing. First, stop worrying about the jiggly stuff you can pinch. The real enemy is that hard, hidden fat inside. Second, use the 3-part code. Color from veggies, catechins from green tea, and cardio at that 75% intensity. And finally, fuel your body, don't starve it.
And really, that's the final question. The roadmap is clear, the science is solid, and your body is ready and waiting to respond. The only thing left to do is to send that first signal.